Now, this is a story we brought to you about a month ago, and this is a long overdue update on that situation. South African students based in Russia are facing financial difficulties as there are issues around their tuition and accommodation payments. The students say they are on the verge of being kicked out of their accommodation and they owe rent of about 6 months. And the Mpumalanga Department of Education is said to be investigating the agent responsible for placing the students in Russian universities. But how bad are things for the students now and the situation in which they are caught up? And I'm now joined by Victoria Maheso in Moscow and Gugulethu Masuku, who is at the Tambov University, also in Russia. Good afternoon, ladies, and I thank you for your time once again and the opportunity to engage with you. Victoria, perhaps if we start with you, just give me your perspective now. About a month ago, we highlighted the plight that you guys are facing in various universities in Russia. There were all sorts of undertakings about how to resolve the situation and what interventions would be put in place. Has anything changed for the better since we last spoke?
It is unfortunate that we now still find ourselves still suffering the same problems that we've been suffering for the past couple of months. I myself have been evicted, and now I face charges because I'm being told that I owe the landlord for the past 6 months that I've been living in that building I was living in. And the first delegation, when they came here, after the department sent them, they made all sorts of promises. And the premier was here, and she came to go and see where I was living. And 2 days later, I was evicted. And we still find ourselves not seeing any possible solutions. Yes, they are saying that they have received some invoices from certain universities that they are saying that they are paying for other students. But then what about us? Because we still find ourselves still having to deal with agents. The premier came here mandated to come and get rid of the agents that we've been working with. And unfortunately, they're asking us now to perform the impossible of going to get invoices that they have multiple times failed to acquire because we only have invoices from our agents. And they are still refusing to pay. Now, students are being evicted. I was evicted. Students are getting expelled. There are 3 confirmed cases in Tambov that students have been expelled, and I have been evicted, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to survive from here onwards. There are students that visas have been expelled, and if we are to leave the country, we face being detained because we haven't paid anything. We don't have documentations, and it's all crazy on the ground. And when we start raising these issues, it becomes as if we are trying to just push them to just give out the money, and they don't understand that we are the ones that are suffering on the ground, being harassed by landlords and being threatened by the police and being expelled from university. So there hasn't been anything really that has resulted from there onwards. Like, it's been over months and nothing has been sorted out.
Let me stick with you for a moment then, Victoria. You're saying you've been evicted. So I take it evicted from your accommodation. And the other thing you mentioned is that you are facing charges. What does that mean? What kind of charges are those?
I am currently now squatting with my friends because the people that the agents has told me that the landlord was threatening that they would evict us with cops. And yesterday when I left, I was told that I owe them for the past 6 months. And if I don't pay them for the past 6 months that I've been living there, because the department has been promising that they'll pay, if I don't pay them for the past 6 months, they're going to get me arrested. That's what they said. So I'm facing charges on that because I'm being threatened to be taken to jail if I don't pay for the past couple of months that the department have been saying that they're going to pay. Now we are supposed to be finishing off with our school. It's our final year. Tuition is not being paid. We are facing expulsion as well. So this will basically mean that all the 5 years that we've been here has been for nothing because our agent invoices need to be paid so we can be able to finish our education. So...
Gugu, just an update on your situation as well. Has anything improved, any change in the situation since we last checked in with you about a month ago, and other students as well?
No.
We seem to be having a bit of a challenge.
Has changed so far.
We seem to be having a bit of a challenge with your connection. Please start again. You were saying nothing has changed?
I was saying nothing has changed so far, and now things are getting worse because some students, as I'm speaking today, 3 city, and also the one that are still at home. Nothing is being done with them, and they're also being expelled because they couldn't get their invitations due to the fees, which the government doesn't also want to pay the fees because of the invoices that we get from the Raka's office.
Yeah. Gugulethu, we do seem to be having a bit of a challenge with your connection. It's intermittent. Let me try and squeeze out something out of you so that if we do lose you, we've gotten as much as we can get from you. Victoria talks about 3 students from Tambov University, which is where you are, who have been expelled. Do you know anything about this and the circumstances around their expulsion? Yeah, no, there's a bit of a challenge. Let's stick with you for a moment then, Victoria, and just take the conversation forward. So you're saying that there was a delegation that came through, and this at some point included the Premier of Mpumalanga. What was their mission when they were there? What exactly were they aiming to achieve by way of a solution to your problems? And are you able to measure them according to that, to say, you know, they'd not come and bring all sorts of solutions to everything, but at the very least they had come to, I don't know, reason with the people that they owe money to say, give us this timeline and this is how we're going to pay, etc. Were you any clearer after they departed?
Remember, Thulasizwe, was it 3 or 4 weeks ago, the department, apparently under the mandate of the HOD, Mr. Mtembu and Masha, as a delegation, were sent to the country to come and meet up with different universities to come and explain that they are trying to get invoices and whatnot and whatnot. So there were some universities that met with them. Some universities maintained that if you want invoices, go to the agent's office and you will get invoices. So those people, those 2 delegates that came earlier, they made promises to our agents. They even met with our agents here in Moscow, and they discussed that, no, submit the invoices, just give us a breakdown of what exactly we are paying for, and we will pay. Those were the promises that they were made. 2 weeks later, the Premier comes to the country. She says she's coming to find a permanent solution to the problem, and she's coming to actually try and mitigate exactly what's going on. But with what we are seeing, the Premier came here mandated to come and eliminate the middleman. And we now find ourselves in a position where we are stuck with the middleman that we were introduced to by the department. Mind you, we were given scholarships by the department. The department introduced us to these agents. We've been working with these agents for the past 6-7 years that we've been in this country. Some people have been in this country, they graduated last year, which makes it 6 years or something. And now when we are supposed to be getting into the final, I'm in my final year now. I'm supposed to be working towards graduation. These people are trying to not get us to graduate. The Premier was here telling us that they are not going to pay our invoices from the agencies, as she quotes, because she says, as I quote, because she says that the department cannot now pay these people that they have been working with for the past couple of months. So we just find ourselves in the middle of something that we shouldn't be finding ourselves in. Right now, they are asking us to perform the impossible. We cannot go and find something that they themselves have failed to find multiple times. We have invoices. We've sent them invoices. We are merely asking them to let the embassy just release the funds and our invoices are paid for so we can be able to finish our studies. So we don't understand exactly what kind of mission the Premier was on, because she's saying that she has met with the Ministry of Russia to try and get them to mitigate in getting us the invoices. But we are still here. When we still go back to our universities, we are sent back to our agents. And we are now being asked to, I don't know what they're expecting from us anymore. I have been evicted.
Yeah. So, Victoria, if I try and understand the latest iteration of the hold-up, is it that the department says they need invoices for the fees and accommodation that is owed?
Directly from universities.
Directly from universities, not being obtained by an agency, which is the method that they've been using all along, but now they seem to not prefer that method. And that's where the breakage is in terms of, getting this process to move along.
That's exactly what's happening. And now,
wow.
Because we have been working with these agencies for all of the time that we have been in the country, we are now expected to walk away from contracts that we were introduced to by these people. Our universities, and they went to the universities, they tried to get the invoices, they failed. How are they expecting that we will be able to get them? They are government. They are the ones that brought us here, and now they are.
Did you at least try, Victoria? Did you at least try to go to the university to say, look, I don't like being in this situation, but if you can provide me with my invoice, I'll be able to forward it to the people who are sponsoring my education, and they will pay. What's the difficulty there?
There are some students in other universities that were able to acquire their invoices per university regulation. There are other universities that are unable to give us invoices. There are students in Saratov, over 50-something of them, that are literally sent to the RACA's office. Once you go to the dean's office and request for your invoice, they send you to the RACA's office to go and get the invoice. The poor students are now literally skating on thin ice, because by the 1st of December, if their invoices from RACA's are not paid, they are going to be expelled. That's exactly the communication that I think the Premier got from the RACA's office as well, that students are going to get expelled if their invoices are not paid. And because now, we also tried here in Moscow, I tried to go and get my invoice myself. I'm being sent to my agency to go and say, here's the invoice from your agents, because you came to our university through these agencies. They are the ones that put us in these universities. When the Premier was here, she said something about the issues around their mismanagement of our scholarship, which is something that I feel like it's unfair that they're going to blame it on us. Because now we have been here under the people that they had entrusted our lives in. And now because they want to turn their backs on us, they are leaving us cold and dry. Sure. I am evicted. I'm literally squatting in people's houses. And it seems they don't even care about that. And now I'm being told that I have to pay for the past 6 months. Where am I going to get that money? I can't get a job. Getting a job on a student visa is illegal in this country. So now I'm facing so many difficulties that I don't even know who I'm supposed to come from. In an unprivileged background, I can't afford to call my parents and say, please help me out.
Lastly, Victoria, one of the other pressing issues when we last spoke had to do with the non-payment of your allowances, small as they are, but, you know, if you have an agreement that you will give me an allowance, it should be paid. And I remember some undertakings being made, including undertakings of back paying those that had not been paid at that stage. Has that situation changed? Are you now receiving your allowances at least?
The stipends that are coming inconsistently. There are some students that still haven't received their stipends for November. We are now in the 20-something of November, and students have not received their stipends. There are students that are receiving their stipends on a regular basis. And it's sad that even with these current situations that we are facing, that I'm being evicted, I don't have stipend, I can't utilize any money to be paying for accommodation. And now I have to be left cold and dry on the streets trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do for myself. So the inconsistency of the stipends and getting other people getting stipends, others not getting, it's really frustrating because we really don't know what exactly they are aiming at.
All right. Thank you for sharing your plight with us and updating us on this situation. And hopefully, hopefully, sense prevails somewhere that we can't be going around this mountain over the delivery method of invoices. That's what it boils down to. It's incredible that it boils down to delivery method of an invoice. Victoria Maheso, thank you for talking to us. Victoria is in Moscow in Russia. They're part of the group of students who've been facing that plight, that uncertainty, that difficult situation really around the payment of their stipends, payment for their university costs, as well as accommodation. She says she's been evicted and she's squatting with people, South African student in Moscow, sent there by a provincial government under the program to get them trained overseas, now finding themselves in this situation.